So for today's video, I want to go over what you should do in the event that another car is following you while you are in your own car. Now, the reason I want to bring this video up in particular is I was getting some tattoo work done recently, and my tattoo artist was talking about how a couple weeks ago he had accidentally veered into another lane and essentially cut off another driver without realizing it. He admits he wasn't really paying attention. He waved his hand and kind of just signaled that he was apologizing, that he was sorry. Nonetheless, it pissed off that other driver, who ended up not only tailing him, and I mean like right on his ass, but he ended up following him for like 5 or 6 miles. And my artist was extremely uncomfortable in the situation. He was explaining how he was headed home and he wasn't really quite sure what to do in that circumstance. He obviously didn't drive home at that time. But he kind of just drove around randomly until the guy got bored and drove off. But we just got talking about, road rage scenarios and what to do in the event that somebody is following you. And I figured this would make a good video. So first things first, we need to at least establish that somebody is in fact following you. If you suspect that another vehicle has been lingering behind you for too long, it could just be a coincidence. Maybe you're just being paranoid. I get that, but it's still a good way, or there are still a few ways that you can test to see if this vehicle is in fact following you, and then we can go from there. So depending on where you're driving, so for instance, if you're on the highway, right, I can take an exit ramp. I can get off on the exit, and then I'm going to immediately get right back onto the highway. And if this car is still behind me, there's a good chance they're following you. If you're in a bit more of like a local town, suburban area, then I'm just going to start taking a couple turns. And I'm going to take consistently left turns or consistently right turns, meaning I'm going to turn left, I'm going to turn left again, I'm going to turn left again. I'm going to do that about 3 or 4 times. And if that car is still behind me, guess what? They're most likely following you. You can also take an unexpected U-turn or even a couple U-turns. And again, if the car is still behind you, they're following you. Lastly, you can adjust your speed. And by adjusting your speed, I mean you drop your speed to like 10 or 15 miles per hour under the speed limit, like drastically slow down. And if this person does not just immediately pass you and drive off, there's a good chance that they are following you. So once you've established that, yes, this vehicle is following me, understand that there are multiple reasons as to why a vehicle could be following you, but it is not the time to determine that. Your focus should be remaining calm and trying to just deal with the situation rather than trying to get answers as to, hey, why is this car behind me? Because again, there could be multiple reasons. Maybe they're stalking you. Believe it or not, there are creeps out there that will stalk you. Maybe they're trying to rob you, assault you, kidnap you, and they're just looking for a prime opportunity to take advantage of that. Or maybe it is a road rage incident and you piss somebody off on the road without even realizing it, and now they're just tailing behind you. Again, I don't know what their intentions are, but they're not easing up and they're not backing off. But regardless of what the circumstances are, regardless of why this vehicle might be following you, what you do from this point on, once you have established that you are being followed, it's going to be the same regardless. So first things first, as I just said, you have to stay calm. I need to think clearly. I need to focus on driving safely, first of all, and then I need to focus on resolving this problem as safe as possible. If I start giving into my emotions and I start panicking and stressing out, I'm going to make rash decisions that aren't really going to help me in the long run. Now, the most important thing in the instance that somebody is following you, I never want to go home. I am not trying to give this person my home address nor how to actually get to my house. And let's actually take this one step further. Whatever your actual final destination is at the moment, don't go to it. Because if you're headed to let's say work or the gym or your house for this instance, you're giving this person an address to a place that you feel comfortable or to a place that you visit often. So let's say that they do get scared off and they leave. There's no telling or no stopping them from coming back the next day. And if they now know, okay, the person works out here or they go to work here, there's no telling what that person may do and if they're actually going to just hang out and wait for you in the parking lot. So I do not want to give them whatever my final destination is. And I'm not trying to, again, walk them right up to my front door either. So what I would suggest that you do instead as you're driving and you realize this is I need to drive to a public, safe area that is ideally well lit and populated. So a store would be a great option, more specifically like a Walmart or a Target, something that's open a little bit later. A grocery store is another great option because there's always going to be a lot of people. The parking lot's well lit and it's a safe enough place that you can park your vehicle and at least hang out there until the authorities arrive. Otherwise, if you don't feel comfortable driving to a store, I highly suggest that you drive to the nearest police station or even the fire department. Again, I understand the fire department isn't going to necessarily be able to help you that much in that situation, but they could also notify the police department. And again, it's a safe place to hang out. Now, during the entire process, whether you stop your vehicle at a stoplight, at a stop sign, whether you do end up pulling into a parking lot somewhere that you feel safe in, I am not to get out of the vehicle. I'm going to remain inside the car. I'm going to keep the doors locked. I'm keeping the windows rolled up. And I'm staying in my vehicle the entire time. Again, I'm safe in there. We just did a whole road rage safety video on what to do in a road rage situation, and that was probably one of the number one tips was stay inside your vehicle. There's no need to confront this individual because, again, we do not know what their intentions are, and I'm not going to try and find out. I'm not going to be a tough guy in this situation. I'm going to be a smart guy. I'm going to be a safe guy. I'm going to stay inside my vehicle, and I'm going to let the professionals handle it. Now, the moment you do discover that you are being followed as you start heading towards either the police department, fire department, public store, whatever the case is, wherever you decide to go that you find safe, I need to get on the phone with 911 immediately. I need to let them know what's going on, let them know where I'm at, where I'm headed to, any details of the vehicle that I can give them, and just stay on the line. And if you don't want to call 911, make sure you have your local non-emergency number saved, because again, that's another number that you can call. Either way, I am getting on the phone with the authorities to some extent to inform them of the situation, and hopefully they can send somebody to follow us on the road or to intercept us and again, take care of the situation. And again, maybe we are overthinking, maybe we are just being paranoid and the car is actually not following us, it's just a coincidence. Nonetheless, let the professionals handle it rather than you taking the chance and something happens to you. Another important detail to take note is keep the car moving. I do not want to pull off somewhere that I'm not comfortable. I don't want to just take a random exit. I want to keep the car moving as much as possible. Let's say I was in the neighborhood. By the time I realized that this car was in fact following me, and even if my house is like right up here on the right, I'm just going to continue circling the neighborhood, or maybe I'll even leave the neighborhood and go back to a more public place. But I want to keep the car moving. I don't want to give this person an opportunity to intercept my vehicle, to approach my vehicle under any circumstances. So I want to make sure that I'm constantly moving, not parking the car, not stopping anywhere that again I'm unfamiliar with or uncomfortable with, or essentially just anywhere where I'm going to give this person an opportunity to, attack me. Now, other things that we can do in the situation is always trust your gut. If something feels off, like I said, take action on it right away. So the moment that you even suspect that somebody is following you or hovering too close or even trying to have a little bit of road rage, act upon it. Last thing I suggest you do, and you have to do this safely because I understand you'll be driving there in this time as well, but take whatever pictures or videos you can, especially if you can get like a license plate or make or model of the vehicle, but document whatever information you possibly can. If you have dash cams on your car, which we've talked about in the past as well, that's another thing to utilize in these situations. But whatever information I can gather, that's only going to help my case if it actually turns out that this person was in fact following you and trying to harm you, attack you, whatever the case is. I want to have as much information as possible. So just remember, at the end of the day, good self-defense all starts with good situational awareness. Pay attention to what's going on around you. Pay attention to who's around you. If anything feels off, take action upon it. Better safe than sorry. So I'd rather you take the extra steps and extra precautions rather than ignoring it, shrugging it off, and something actually does happen to you. So if you're one that has been followed or you've dealt with situations similar to this, drop down in the comments below what you did to handle that situation, and we'll see you next time. Stay safe.